What's up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of Charm City Heavyweights Podcast brought to you by Great Eighth Memorabilia in Parkville, Maryland. I am the host, Matt Schroeder, with me tonight, as always, my co-host, Josh Merrill. Josh, what's going on, buddy?
I'm coughing. That's what's going on. Coming live from the man cave. Last week I sneezed and fucking boogers and shit, and then this week I start coughing. Coming live from the man cave, man. It's a big game.
Yes, it is.
Lamar appeared to get a little agitated yesterday when asked if he thinks this could be a preview of the Super Bowl, and he said the Super Bowl is in February. We're in December, so I'm not thinking that. This is a big game, man. It's not a big game in terms of we can lose this game and be fine, not really lose anything. Uh, but it's a big game in terms of to see, like, I mean, if we can get to the Super Bowl, this is probably who we're going to see. Because I don't see anyone in the NFC even close to the 49ers level. I don't see anyone in
There,
the NFL even close to their level, to be honest. And I'm a
there,
Ravens lover. I would never leave them, never wear the colors of another team like I just seen an individual do. I would never do anything like that. But
yeah, they are the
I've never
juggernaut.
seen anything like what the 49ers are doing right now. First,
They
I
are
thought
the
they were a
NFL
joke when
juggernaut.
they lost to the Browns and shit, but and they had some weird losses. But what, the last 4 or 5 games? I don't know what it is exactly, but shit. And what's
Well,
Christian McCaffrey doing? I mean, he's a white dude. Like, you ain't supposed to run a ball like that. The hell?
buddy, let's not go there. But
All right.
let's bring in our guests from the Bay Area. They are 49ers faithful. They are 49ers super fans. We have Miss Gina and we have Mr. Rod representing the San Francisco 49ers. Folks, what is
What
going
up?
on?
What's happening, fellas? We first of all appreciate you guys for having us
Yes,
on, man. We definitely
thank
appreciate
you.
you guys, man.
We appreciate
Thank
you
you
guys
very
joining
much.
the show.
Yep.
This is
Thank
a
Absolutely.
you.
heavyweight fight on Christmas night. This is
Yeah.
the NFL knew what they were doing for this primetime game at least because in previous iterations of primetime football it has been rather lackluster this year. So
Absolutely.
you guys are the cream of the crop in the NFC right now. You're sitting at 11-3. You guys are clicking on all cylinders right now on both sides of the ball. So Gina, lead us off. How's it going over there with 49ers faithful?
Yeah. And what's up to we got Brandon, aka B Dubs in the chat. What up, fam? Niners all day. You know what? I just and we're from Sports Laugh and Chill, by the way. We've got more co-hosts on our channel who aren't Niners fans, just to throw that out there. So it gets a little chippy, or chirpy or whatever the word is, on our channel too. But yeah, you know what? When you guys were, doing your intro, I was thinking, you know what? I never realized in the beginning of the season how like that this game was going to be huge. I thought, okay, Ravens, I didn't realize they were going to actually be so dominant coming into the season, like throughout the season, because you think Kansas City, reigning champs, and then Buffalo. I mean, I know they kind of always peter out, in the playoffs, but you just, Dolphins even. I mean, but the Ravens still, like I wouldn't believe. Of course, I know my Niners, are gonna pull through after what happened last season, but going all the way to the NFC Championship. But I didn't think that this would be a huge matchup because I was even planning on going to this game way back when, and then I thought this is a really big matchup, and I really don't like saying Super Bowl preview because then it just puts too much on it, but people are saying that, and it's hard to ignore, it's hard to not hear it, so hey, I mean, Lamar is a very respectable person, and we'll get into, probably when we talk MVP stuff, we'll talk more about him, but he's a great quarterback, and we know what kind of numbers Brock Purdy's putting up, but um we've got some great players on our team. I mean, I'm confident in my team, really confident. So this is gonna be a great game.
I would expect nothing less. Rod, chime in, man. 49ers.
First off, I think at the very beginning of the season, I had the Ravens going to the Super Bowl against us.
Mhm.
So if I
Wow.
go back into our archives before the season ever started, I saw what
Ooh.
you guys had, and my thing was, as long as you guys resigned Lamar Jackson, you guys always had a chance. And once you guys resigned him during the offseason, I was like, that is a team that I'm always worried about because of Lamar. He's an
Mm.
MVP. You know, he's been an MVP in this league. So I'm like, I'm not ever here to discredit who you guys are, what you guys represent. On top of that, you guys are, hardball led. He's a winner. He's a champ.
Right.
Like I show respect to the teams that I know, who know how to play football and they bring it, like that. So it's for me to look at what you guys have done so far. I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised at all. I think some of the losses that you guys have, being honest, I think you guys' record should be a lot better because of
Mhm.
some of the things that have happened,
Yeah.
as far as the
Yep.
second half blunders, the fourth quarter mistakes and miscues that you guys have had. So I've had respect for you guys this whole year. So yeah, this is definitely gonna be a good game. On top of that, I'll be there at the game. So I'm excited
Hell
for it.
Yes. Quick question before we get going. How does your families feel about you guys going there on Christmas night?
They don't give a shit.
I, I respect it.
They
But
don't give a shit.
let's just kind of get right into the MVP talk. We've all been hearing about Christian McCaffrey all year. I was on TED Talks ball earlier today,
Ted.
helping helping out a fellow 49er content creator, and I kind of take issue with the fact that the MVP always has to be a quarterback. It seems like when there's two guys that are
Totally agree.
arguably better than every quarterback in the league right now in terms of MVP standing, and that's Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill. But
I agree.
that's a hill I'd die on. But nonetheless, Brock Purdy's leading the NFL. I think he has 31 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. Lamar's catapulted himself back into MVP consideration over the last month or so. Um, I don't like this side story where whoever wins this game between those two is like the guaranteed MVP. Um, as much as I love Lamar Jackson and Josh, I know you have the same sentiment. He's only got 17 touchdowns this year, and that's not a lot of touchdown passes considering this is probably the best pass catching group that he's ever had. But we still continue to win games, and that's mostly been a well-rounded effort on the run game, the defense, special teams. So yeah, the MVP race should honestly be between CMC and Tyreek Hill, at least in my opinion. Josh, I know that you have been paying attention to the MVP talk now that Lamar Jackson's in there again. You've taken exception with guys like Emmanuel Acho and Shannon Sharp over the last couple of days on national television, Josh. So give us your thoughts on the MVP race side story.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Uh, the MVP to me is a joke, to be honest with you, Matt. Because to me, it's the most valuable quarterback. They should just change it.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Totally
I
agree.
mean, to me, the MVP should be the player that was the best, that stood out among all the positions, whether
Right.
it be Christian McCaffrey, a running back, or
Right.
whoever, a safety
Trent
somewhere,
Williams.
whatever. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
best quarterback award, and
Right.
it's kind of, I don't know. I'm
It's
really not
corny.
into it. That I really, yeah. I mean, Lamar got it once. I thought that was cool, but I never, you know, yeah.
I actually
I don't
don't. I kind of don't want Lamar to win it for the simple fact that the last time he won it, we choked in the playoffs. So
I
Yeah,
remember.
that
I
too.
don't,
That too.
I don't need that omen. Even though it'd be nice, individual recognition. I don't think he wants it anyway. I think he just wants to win the Super
Yeah, I
Bowl
don't
this
think he
year. But
cares.
how do you guys feel about Brock over there? I do want to. I don't want to ruffle feathers by any means, but there's been chatter on social media amongst national pundits. Do you believe Brock's the real deal, or do you think that he's a product of the Kyle Shanahan system?
Go, Gina. I'll respond after.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the thing, even within our own fan base, it's, you know, we have all the weapons, right? Kyle Shanahan is the genius. He's a genius, play caller and this, that, and the other. But if you put anybody at quarterback in that system, you can guarantee the same results. Well, guess what? We had everybody but Christian McCaffrey. We had
A huge if,
who did we had a
a
quarterback?
huge piece.
We had Jimmy Garoppolo,
True.
right? And then we got to the Super Bowl, but we didn't execute. You know, we had, of course, a couple things to blame. Kyle Shanahan's missed time management, and Jimmy's overthrow. But we didn't have Jimmy wasn't making putting up quarterback stats like Brock was. He wasn't making those excellent decisions. You got the haters that are saying, "Oh, he only does these little slants and screen passes and this, that, and the other," and it's like, now you see Brock throwing the deep ball. You know, um, Kyle Shanahan's a happy motherfucker right now. He's got his guy. He's got his franchise QB. He's molding him into what he wants him to be, you know? Um, I don't know. If you want to call him a system quarterback for now, go for it. But when he wins that Super Bowl, or if I don't know, I don't like to jinx shit, but if he does, then we'll see what happens later. But there's still going to be criticism no matter what. It's just how narratives go.
That's fair. Rod?
I was skeptical about Brock at the beginning of the season. I'm just gonna be honest. I was a Trey guy. I thought Trey was the man walking in. I was the guy that was speaking. How can you just give it to Brock? He hasn't done anything. Really and truly only had a couple of more starts than Trey. Brock changed my mind. I'll be honest with you. Probably, I think it's week 3 against the Giants, and I watched how they blitzed him and how he carved them up in that game, and I was like, I can't continue to lay on that anymore. Like, this dude is literally shutting my mouth. Then he played against the Cowboys. He destroyed the Cowboys. I watch how this guy plays. His anticipation is, second to none in the league. His instincts, the way I love his poise. And it seems like he's unfazed by anything. He's already played with messed up ribs last year against Seattle. And I said, man, we won that game. And we also clinched in Seattle last year. So then to come into this season and watch how he's done, he almost had almost perfect game against Arizona the first game, 20-21. I'm like, Jimmy never gave us this.
Yeah.
I had him we watched, sorry to say, but we had PTSD with Jimmy Garoppolo, where I'm just honest. I couldn't believe Brock for what he was. I'm like, it's no way he's that good. It's no way he's playing like this. Brock has been proven each and every time he stepped out there that he can get the job done. Then along that, like what you guys had already said earlier, as long as however you want to look at the MVP race, my thing is my most valuable player, as long as we got Trent there, that is the key to it all moving the way that it's supposed to move. I'm not really tripping off of anybody else. As long as we can keep Trent Williams there, no ankle issues, no knee issues or whatever, I feel like we have a shot to also keep Brock continuing to be as efficient as he is. Brock is he shut my mouth. He's proved me wrong. And I think he's got that dog in him. And Fred Warner said he's got that it factor. and I didn't understand what the it factor was with him. But each and every week he shows it. Anticipation, throws outside the numbers. It doesn't always have to be just in the middle of the field. He opens up a whole different offense that we haven't seen before, and I'm truly excited. I don't get nervous. Jimmy Garoppolo, extremely nervous every game.
While we're on the subject of Brock, one of our followers, Sage Bryant, who grew up with Josh and I in our neighborhood in Baltimore here.
Oh,
Um,
hi.
Brock is efficient and a good game manager, but he's a part of the system, not the driving force. You put him on Carolina or Seattle, and you don't get nowhere near the same numbers. I mean, that can be said for a lot of players and a lot of different offenses. Um, I think you can probably only plug about maybe 5 or 6 quarterbacks in that San Francisco system, and they'll produce the same numbers, if not better.
But what
Um,
does system
I had
quarterback
that
even mean? I mean, what
it's
does
kind
it
of like
even
Speak on
kind of
mean?
it.
like the Belichick
Speak on
Yeah.
Brady
it.
effect.
Because I've
Right?
never even understood. They always said that about Brady, which I hate Tom Brady. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can't stand him.
I'm with you.
But yeah, but like they always said that about him, and then he went to Tampa and won a ring, so he put that to bed. But I don't even really understand what that means because all quarterbacks that you think are your franchise guy, you build around them, their talents, what they're good at. You draft around that. I mean, that's just what you do. So, I mean, every franchise quarterback is a system quarterback. Our offense
Correct.
is built around Lamar. Lamar can't
Reach.
be in
Yes.
different kind of offense. We had to build
Agree.
everything around what he does. Well, he's not a typical
Agree.
quarterback. So I don't. All elite franchise QBs are
And is that a
system
bad
quarterback.
thing?
No, I don't. I mean, as long as they're winning, it's all I give a shit about.
So if you
Right.
get the job done, you're considered a system quarterback, but people love to put him. If this person was on another team, how would they look? If you put Patrick Mahomes on Carolina, they still would suck. Like it doesn't matter where a quarterback is or how things are being done. Look at Kansas City this year. They're not as good as they were last year. Why is that? Is it because of Patrick Mahomes? No. It's because the guys who don't catch the ball. If you're not catching the ball, of course you're going to look a certain way out there.
Mhm.
You can't just always blame this and put this all on just the quarterback alone. It's
Right.
11 players on offense or defense. Like you still have to execute the plays out there regardless.
Yeah.
That's true. It's been that game manager,
Thank you,
term gets
Rick.
tossed around a lot, and you guys, yeah, thank you, Rick, for wishing everybody a Merry Christmas over on this side as well. Um, Actually, Gina, you got a question we can let you answer before we get on into the positional offensive defensive breakdowns.
You're not a pain in the neck, Rick. We love having you come into our chat room.
Right. You're cool. You're cool.
Yeah. Go Niners. We love you.
Everybody's a system quarterback, but if you go off script, what difference does it make? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
you're
that's
right.
the
You're right.
thing that happens. Like you're going to do whatever your coach requires or asks of you. There's no quarterback, I don't care how good they were at one time, they had to follow a certain portion of a system.
Yep.
So if you don't follow a certain portion of a system, you're not going to be in the league. There's nobody walking out there on the field just saying, hey, we don't need an offensive coordinator. We don't need a coach or anything. We're going to just go out here. Hey, you do this, do that, go here, go there, and I got you. It doesn't work that way. But, I digress.
And Adam made a very good point. We were just talking about that last night on our podcast, on our show, Sports Laugh and Chill, because we also had a Ravens fan on, one of our good friends, Trey Frazier. You guys might want to check out his podcast as well. Him and Maestro are on Barbershop Talk
Barbershop talk.
Sportscast. Yeah, Barbershop Talk Sportscast. And one's a Ravens fan, and Maestro, he's not a Ravens fan.
Steelers fan.
Steelers fan, that's right. Oh yeah, Adam would like that too. And
Adam's the only one we like.
Shout out to Adam, man.
yeah,
Legit, he's
and
the only
we
Steelers
were
fan I can talk to.
Yeah,
Yep.
we were talking about the loss of Eric Bieniemy, and that is probably hurting them.
We don't mind. We
Mhm.
can't stand Kansas City either. But let's get a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's get a little bit into the offensive and defensive breakdown. Gina and Rod. Josh is our resident NFL All 22 film watcher. So
Ooh.
he takes a little bit of time out of his day and breaks down the film. Josh, what have you noticed about the San Francisco 49ers defense and what type of problems they may give the Baltimore Ravens offense?
Okay. Well, this is easy. There, I didn't really have to watch too much of the film. Listen, guys. I'm usually pretty cocky and arrogant, but I'm not going to go that way this week. We're rotating tackles.
Yes, we
Both
are.
our left and right tackle are terrible. Ronnie Stanley is almost $100 million left tackle. Injuries are just taking him down. He's terrible. He actually cleared concussion protocol yesterday, I believe.
Oh
And
shit.
then Morgan Moses, our $11 million a year right tackle, has all of a sudden just his talent. He's
He
just
forgot how to
gotten
pass
old all of a
block.
sudden. Yeah, it's bad, and he was solid. So I'm worried about this game. I know Lamar is dancing around the pocket, but if we have any chance to win this game, Lamar is going to have to move the ball with his legs. They're going
Yeah,
to have quick passes. I hope we're smart about this. I hope we run the ball and it's a lot of quick passes and we don't put Lamar in harm's way. I want the Ravens to win this game, obviously, and I hope we win this game. But my key really is to get Lamar back on the plane healthy.
you know, I'm gonna correlate the tackle situation and Gina and Brad. I know you guys have heard this before. Um, in the NFL, when you have two quarterbacks on your team, you have none, and in
Facts.
our case, when you have four offensive tackles, you don't have two. You
Mhm.
don't have any.
Right.
It's
Right.
so bad that we're taking. It's almost like teams can key on us now because we take our starting tackles out when we want to pass the ball. And when we want to run the ball, we keep them in because they can both run block at this point. At this point, Ronnie Stanley's a better run blocker than he is pass blocker. He's a
Yeah.
$100 million left tackle, and he's getting walked back into the quarterback by below average pass rushers, which is absolutely
No name
infuriating.
dudes. No
No name
name
dude.
dudes.
It's not like he's seeing Miles Garrett do it. It's when you got the third pass rusher on the Detroit Lions walking Ronnie Stanley back into Lamar Jackson. It's like, what the hell is going on? Now I know he had a right
What's up, Miss Debbie?
a right ankle injury. He's had a knee injury. He was in concussion protocol
Yeah.
this week. So we got a lot of that going on. But to Josh's point, I think the only way we can stop this 49ers defense from truly beating him up is running the ball. And you guys, if I'm not mistaken, I believe both Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead are both questionable, like game time decision type decisions for Monday night. So, and there's a huge difference with you guys when Armstead and Hargrave are in the starting lineup as opposed to not, because when they weren't in the starting lineup, the Arizona Cardinals clipped you off for 230 on the ground.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
Armstead at least makes a difference because
yeah,
our run defense wasn't too hot. We let up too many yards, like way more than we should have. It's like 300 or something, right?
yeah, it's crazy, but I see, you guys have arguably the best linebacker duo between Warner and Greenlaw, I believe.
Greenlaw. Yeah,
Yeah,
Greenlaw.
and we
Let's
got
not
our own over
discredit your
here.
linebackers. Let's
Yeah,
not
well,
Hey,
oh no,
y'all
I'm
got
saying
some
we
linebackers
understand.
too.
Mhm.
That's probably 1A, 1B, depending on what side of the fence you're on.
Absolutely.
But
Mhm.
I'm not really sure about your outside linebackers as much, and I know your secondary is very banged up. You guys have dealt with a lot of injuries. You just brought back Jason Barrett. I know that he's on
Practice
the practice.
squad.
He's
Yeah,
on the
he's on the
practice squad,
practice
but
squad.
Yeah,
I know
but Lenore's just coming back,
from
so
a rib
yeah.
injury or an oblique injury, I believe. So you guys, it's kind of like a double edged sword because as much as we should be able to pick apart the secondary with the injuries, our tackles could not provide adequate pass protection. So it's kind of like who's going to bend first and break. And Josh, I know on film it looks like we're running the ball rather well, but we suffered a catastrophic loss on Sunday night in Jacksonville. Keaton Mitchell tore his ACL, and
Oh,
he
it
was
was nasty. Oh,
That was
he
ugly.
was
real nasty.
he was
Oh
he was
man.
he was averaging 12 yards a touch at that point in the game, and he's been our lightning in a bottle. His father's a good friend of the show. He's been on a couple of times in recent months, talking about Keaton's rise from undrafted free agent to essentially our starting running back. Um, so it's gonna be a heavy dose of Justice Hill and Gus Edwards, and I believe the key for us, honestly, at least for offensively for the Ravens, is to just run the ball up the middle, stay away from Bosa.
We have
Let
to.
them. We got to stay away from
The-
Bosa.
if he has Lamar dropping back 35 times, man,
It's a
that's
long game.
silly. It's going to be a long game, and unless he's getting rid of the ball like Trevor Lawrence was against us last week, and almost under 2 seconds, some crazy shit. Unless we're doing something like that, man, because I don't see our offensive line stopping Bosa and them guys, man. They're monsters.
I'll
Yeah.
say this about the defense.
Go ahead, Rod. I'm sorry. I was
You
going to
got
turn
to
it over
take
to you
their
guys
knees
anyway.
out or something.
I was gonna say, like, you guys are. This is the thing, and this is, and I've been saying it on our show for the past 2 weeks. Person that scares me is Lamar Jackson. I think that of all quarterbacks that you always have to be worried about is Lamar Jackson, like for a reason. Not only because of his legs, it's just the mere fact that he can extend any play. And now that he stays a little bit more in the pocket and he's doing more with the pass game, considering, like you guys said earlier, you guys have the receivers now that gives him a little bit of a cushion. Now, hopefully, what I'm hoping is that our front four gets home. You got Chase Young on the opposite side of Bosa. So while you're worried about Bosa so much, you still got to be worried about the other side too. Because if you're gonna single off just Chase by itself, good luck with that one too. Because it's gonna be a nightmare on that side. Now, when you look at Hargrave, I feel like Hargrave and Armstead is gonna play this week. Kind of listen to what Richard Sherman said. He kind of said some stuff because he knows, our locker room. He said that those two guys was going to play. They've been out the last 2 weeks. So my thing is, I feel like they'll play. I think my biggest thing behind it all is that if we can get home, I think we can disrupt a lot of the run game. Now, to what you guys brought up as far as the run game last week against Arizona, we missed a lot of tackles. Mainly Fred Warner. Fred Warner was out of position. He missed a lot of tackles, and that's very rare of him to do. I think this is the game that if you're gonna shut a lot of folks up, my mouth included, you got to be sound in your play this week. There is no way you can allow, for Jackson Lamar to get out there and do his thing. If Lamar gets out there and he's ripping and running 12, 13-yard gashes off of plays, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. It's nothing you can do. Hell, the whole league is in trouble because there's nobody, period, in the league that can stop any type of running quarterback. It's just a mere fact that you hope that's just the day that they, that you guys are on your assignment. So my thing is if we can play sound, Dre Greenlaw can come in there and play his game without being so aggressive and getting a penalty, we should be okay. I think the biggest thing more than ever is knowing that we can put uh Mooney Ward in position to cover one of your wide receivers and stick with him. That if we can I'll just use for example, if we can eliminate OBJ out of a situation, you know what I mean? That gives us somewhat of a chance. You also got Flowers over there though. A little concerned about him. His wiggle, his move, the way that he can get up and out, that's a little scary too. So As long as we can take care of those two things, and then on top of that, you're tight end. Likely, I like them. I like them a lot. So I just feel like I watched you guys. I know how you guys play. You guys continue to do your thing. We just have to execute on our end as well too. But then I'm also scared of you guys as defensive tackles too. I mean, he's the leading sacker on your team.
We'll get there in a minute. But Gina, is there anything on the 49ers defense that gives you cause for concern on Monday night?
Wait. Did I just fix this? Okay. Um, that gives me concern. No, just making sure that they cleaned up their issues, like Rod said. Just pretty much everything Rod said. I was concerned about Fred too because he's my favorite player on the team. Yeah, I agree with everything Rod said.
Fair enough. Now, let's kind of switch gears and flip it over a little bit. Josh, we our defense is, by all accounts, one or two or three, depending on what Bible you choose to study throughout the course of the week in terms of uh, analytics and pundits and alike. We got the best, you know, interior defensive tackles in the NFL between Michael Pierce and Justin Matabike, who now has a sack or at least a half a sack in 12 straight games. He's an absolute game wrecker at this point. He's been, the phrase "baby Aaron Donald" has been thrown around recently when it comes
Because
to
he's
him.
putting up Aaron Donald numbers.
Yes, and there was a graphic that was posted on one of our radio shows in Baltimore this week where their numbers are identical through this part of the season, almost from Donald's his Defensive Player of the Year campaign where he had 20 sacks. I mean, Matabike, he's he's staring down the barrel of 15 at this point. But Jadeveon Clowney's having a resurgent year. Kyle Van Noy came off the couch in Josh, week 5?
Yeah, week 5.
And he became the starter by week 6. And Odafe Owe is our first round prodigy that hasn't kind of been the sack guy that we wanted him to be, but he's in there on situational pass rush. We have the young kid Tavius Robinson, who's been starting to make his mark. And then you look at the inside linebackers, like you mentioned earlier, Rod, a couple minutes ago. Roquan is playing like a madman. Him and Patrick Queen. I think that's going to be the key to the game in terms of us defensively, because we have to, mitigate CMC and Kittle, because I do believe that I'm not saying it's going to be 100% lockdown coverage, but if you put Marlon Humphrey and Brandon Stevens up against Debo and Ayuk, there's going to be plays made, but I believe that this is going to be a heavyweight boxing match where these guys are going to play their asses off anyway, because Stevens is having an all-pro caliber year. If you look at all of his stats, he hasn't given up a touchdown this year. He hasn't given up more than, I believe, 35 or 40 pass yards in a game against him in man coverage, and he's been the better out of our cornerbacks, even though Marlon has the pedigree. But I believe that Roquan and Queen covering your other weapons in CMC and Kittle, that might be the difference in who wins and loses this game. Josh, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I agree. We can't let Kittle chew our middle up, man, and McCaffrey and our defensive line. That's what scares me. Van Noy and Clowney have put up great numbers. Clowney has looked like Clowney, the younger version of Clowney that we haven't seen in a while. But the last game or so, they have started to hit that age wall, where guys their age hit. We saw it last year with, what's his name, Matt? His name just left my mind. Yeah, Justin Houston. But can they get through that? And they got to get going. If we want to get to a Super Bowl and have a good playoff run, those two guys have to get going. And I hope they can get going this game, because if not, man, a lot of people in Baltimore right now are concerned that we've been giving a lot of runs up the middle. But when you watch it on film, I think that a lot of that's by design, Matt, because you notice we give those chunk plays up and then we lock it down in the red zone. We give up a field goal. We've done that all year. Roquan was just
Mm-hmm.
talking about it the other day. Bend but don't break. So I do expect us to open up the middle a little bit, to chew the clock up, and maybe turn it into our kind of game. And I think that's really going to be the key to the game, honestly. Can Clowney get up and get going like he was? Can he get his legs back? Can Van Noy get his legs back? And let's start getting pressure again. It can't just be Matabuke in this game making plays. We need everyone. We got to play, like Shannon Sharp said, we got to play our best game of the year to win this game.
Yeah.
Yes,
I feel like
absolutely.
Especially because it's in San Fran. If it was
Yeah.
here, I'd be a little more cocky, a little more, that place is going to be rocking.
I like
You
that
know,
attitude. I like that. I
But
like that.
Lamar does always play well. Lamar does always play well on prime time. I will say that. He's got like crazy primetime numbers, but he's going to have to play his best game of the year as well. He's going to have to hit some outside throws. I don't believe San Fran is going to leave the middle open. He's going to have to hit some outside throws. Uh, Beckham's going to have to get going. He was hobbly a little bit last week. He didn't play a lot last week. He made a few plays. But prior to that, guys,
Caught a
Odell was
touchdown pass
looking
a
like
couple
the
weeks
old.
ago.
He did. But prior to that, what I was getting ready to say for my co-host rudely interrupted me. Prior to last week, I'm just messing around.
I know.
I love it.
Odell was looking like the Odell of old, and I was starting to get excited because I was a guy. I liked bringing Odell here, but we did overpay a little bit, just a little bit, I do believe. But the last few weeks, I started putting my foot in my mouth because he was hitting slants and he's starting to look like the old Odell. All of a sudden, he was scoring touchdowns every game,
Who
sometimes
told you
multiple
this was going to
touchdowns.
happen? Who told you this was going to happen in the beginning of
You
the
did,
year?
Matt, but I don't take your word for it. Guys, listen, Matt is the guy that likes names. When Des Bryant came a few years ago, I was like, Matt, what the fuck are you so happy about, bro? He's old as shit. You think we're getting the Des in Dallas, and we're not. And it didn't work out. It was ugly. He only made it in a few times. I think he did get one
We
touchdown.
also had a 9U Pee Wee football passing game. Um, so there's
Matt, the
that.
man was old. I mean, where
Okay.
did he sign after he left here?
Nowhere, Josh. Okay.
Right. Point
Yeah.
done. Period.
So yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you for agitating me. I appreciate that.
I'm never wrong. And I'm never wrong, and he gets mad. That's how it goes.
I love it.
Oh
This is funny.
I
man.
know.
Yeah.
He's hot right now. He's burning up in there.
Oh no, I'm
Hey,
not.
I'm
No, I'm
all
not. No,
about.
I'm
I'm
not.
all about. I'm all about the ratings, guys. If he explodes, acts stupid. Hey, the world go big.
I'm with it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
trying to work no more, man. My knees and shit are starting to hurt.
I don't blame you,
I
Josh.
want to do.
Hey,
I now read
be
about these
you.
kids. They're worth $90 million, and they do some stupid YouTube channel. Shit, I
That's
don't even
right.
need 90. YouTube, you can give me like 2 million. I'll be happy.
So
I don't need 90.
before we get into the last segment of the show, guys, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the Ravens defense, how they're matching up against that high octane offense you got over in San Francisco.
Gina.
I can only speak mainly for the offense, just because we talked about Christian McCaffrey and how and I was a big supporter of even Tyreek Hill being in the conversation for MVP, but you know I know McCaffrey more than I know Tyreek, but just there's no stopping him. There's no stopping him. And even when you try to stop him a little bit, they're still going to give him the ball, and he's still going to find a way to the end zone. And even if he doesn't find that way to the end zone, he gets stopped. He'll be stopped at like the 2-yard line, gets 70, yards or whatever. So, and then Ayuk, Debo, and we have Kittle as our dependable, reliable tight end who's there to just make a, stiff arm play and catch. It's just, I don't know. Obviously Brock wouldn't be able to make those throws without Trent Williams. And we've talked about this on our podcast too, that because we have a Falcons fan as one of our co-hosts who's like, I'm not going to, talk about, Purdy being MVP because I believe, you can't just not talk about Trent Williams and, Christian McCaffrey, who he played with Christian McCaffrey at Stanford because he was a defensive lineman at Stanford himself. But he's like all over, he's also anti Kyle Shanahan. But he's like, I don't think it should go to Brock, the MVP. He's like, I think it should go to, like McCaffrey or Trent Williams. But that's how loaded we are. They've got so many dominant, weapons and forces and pause. But yeah, I just feel like if we can get and I know we're gonna get to predictions later, but if we can get like if we can get like, a good like that first drive, score on the first drive and just always keep ahead, like that'll
It's gonna be tough. We've only given up one opening drive touchdown the entire season.
At least that, if we can do that, I mean,
Gina, you're making me sad. I hope that don't happen. Shit. I hope we come out and sack him 3 times and he's like, oh shit, these guys are nuts, and he just folds and just let us get this one.
I'm also a realist too, because sometimes we've had like shitty, primetime games, like where it hasn't gone our way. Night games, it could go either way. I've been to a primetime game Thursday night and we just fucking kicked ass with Jimmy Garoppolo. You know what I'm saying? But hey, you never know. You just never know, So I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. If we don't win this, I'm not going to fucking cry and shit, but I think we stand a really good chance,
I'll probably cry if we lose. Real tears.
I want that fucking Lombardi, man. I've seen 2 Super Bowl. I've seen 2 losses against you guys and against Kansas City, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to bring that up. I was going to wear the ring at first to be a prick, but I said,
oh my God.
You should have did it. You should have did it.
Yeah. I usually do things like that, but
Rod, if you want to see somebody get pissed off, when we have Cleveland Browns guests on our show, he puts his fingers up to the camera and shows the Super Bowl rings and just flaunts it. I absolutely love
and they
it.
think the first one is theirs, even though it was 6 years later.
I'm all for the smoke. I love it. It doesn't bother me one bit. I love it because one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna dish it right back to somebody too. So I just be like, hey, if I'm able to dish it out, I should be able to take it. You know what I'm saying,
right.
Paul?
Yeah.
Now this is the thing. What's your defensive tackle's name? Leading sack.
Michael Pierce. Oh, Justin Madubuike, yeah.
Madubuike. Okay. We have to treat him. Now you got to remember this. Kyle Shanahan is known for taking certain players out of games. We've done that to Aaron Donald for the past 6 seasons, I think, where you don't even hear Aaron Donald's name. My thing is, if we can figure out a way to minimize him to not be a disruption in the game, I think that can open up a lot of other situations. The run game has to go. The run game, if we can get our run game going, that opens up the play action. And if we can get our play action going, then that's when I feel like Ayuk gets busy. Then you get your Debos, because now you're talking about mismatches. Are you going to put a linebacker on Christian McCaffrey? Good luck with that. Are you going to put a linebacker if he's in the backfield with Debo? Good luck with that. So it's like, pick your poison on that, but we have to execute. Yes, we have all these, guys and everything. I hear all that shit every year. My biggest person that I'm most worried about is Kyle Shanahan, because anytime Kyle Shanahan steps up in a big game, this is where the time where I get a little nervous, because I'm not worried about my players. I'm more worried about what fucking play call he's gonna go out there
Mhm.
with, and is it gonna be too conservative? Any other time, it's always about, hey, let's just open up the playbook, let's just go for it, let's just do our thing. Granted, I understand we had
Yeah.
limitations with Jimmy G. I get it all every time, but now there is no excuse. Brock can make all the throws if he can open up certain things and exploit
Yeah.
within certain and extend plays. I think we have a very good chance. My thing is, whoever, whichever, now if Clowney is going to line up on our right side and that's against McKivitz, I'm gonna be a little worried. I'm just gonna be honest. Now, if he lines up on the left side, I'm not gonna be worried. You got Trent over there. I
Yeah,
don't
well, he's a Hall of Fame left tackle. You don't have to
exactly
worry about
like I'm not gonna be worried about the left
Yeah.
side. If your right side, if you put your strongest guy on the right side along with your defensive tackle in the middle there, then that's when it's going to be a game of chess. And that's the part that I'm really concerned with and nervous about, because everybody knows our right side is the most weakest side of our line. The left side is our strongest. That's why we continue to run to our left. That's why anytime you see Kittle line up on the left side, you don't know if it's a run or a pass. It's just the mere fact of, if the play action is running, if we get the run game going and then the play action opens up, then that's when Kittle gets a couple of plays. That's when certain things open up.
Yeah.
You guys got to remember what we did against Philly. We had two drives against Philly where we looked like straight up shit. But then all of a sudden we exploited certain things. We opened up certain moves against them, and the rest was history. So you guys aren't a pretend defense. You guys are a for real defense. I'm not going to disrespect your defense. Philly, I disrespected them because I saw
Oh, I was
what they were, and I knew
I
that
was
they were
happy when you guys beat them. Yeah, man, I was happy when you guys beat them. I was so
absolutely,
happy.
But what?
absolutely. I knew
Blew
it.
him
I,
out.
I saw certain stuff, and Gina can tell you, I was not concerned with Philly at all. I even said it before the game started. I said, I'm not worried about Philly. Point was proven.
Baltimore and Philly are not that far apart, so I don't like Eagles fans, and they've been really cocky the last
They're
few years
fucking
with their
assholes.
with their success. So when you guys smacked them, like I was happy as shit. Oh man, it made
So
me happy.
I
so
know
let's
a few
Because you
good
guys,
asshole. I mean,
they weren't getting to
asshole.
the
I
Super
know a
Bowl
few good
last year
Eagles
if
fans.
they weren't getting to the Super Bowl last year if Purdy doesn't get hurt. You know,
Facts,
I truly believe you guys would have went to the Super
oh
Bowl.
yeah, no
facts.
doubt they got to that Super Bowl and still got rickrolled. So I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. Let's get into the final segment of the show, guys, and this is our player of the game and score prediction segment. Uh, since you guys are our guests, Rod, you can lead off, or Gina, you can lead off. Who is your player of the game, and what is the final score of the late game on Monday Night Football?
And
Go
we
Gina.
call it pick to click, guys. The player of the game is your pick to click. Good.
I'm sorry, Josh.
Go Gina.
Um, sorry, I guess I'll comment. Pick my player first.
Either one. We don't have a particular order.
Player of the game. You know, Debo's been getting a lot of action lately and stuff, and I'd like to see Ayuk have a big highlight. So I'm gonna go with Ayuk.
Okay.
Think he's gonna get some big catches.
There
So
you go.
Brandon Ayuk for your player of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think the final score will be?
Um, I'm gonna say it's gonna be. It's gonna be a high score for both. So I'm gonna say. Ooh, I'm gonna say. Well, maybe not that high. It's a tough one. 24-28.
28-24 San Francisco. Okay. Rod,
Yeah.
take the click and score prediction.
George Kittle. I think he steps up in prime time. Big game like this. I think that Kyle uses a certain different type of game with him. This one, for some reason, and it's just I got a hunch about it. I think McCaffrey's going to have a good game. Don't get me wrong, but I also feel like he's going to be kind of a decoy in certain possessions, and I think that's where Kittle is going to get busy. Um, sorry, but I got us 35-21.
Okay, Josh, let's have it, buddy. Pick the click and your player. I mean, into your score prediction.
All right, I'm gonna go pick the click first. Isaiah Likely is going to be my pick to click. I just think, man, he's making unbelievable catches. That play Lamar threw to him last week, man, that may have been one of the best plays I've ever seen in my life. And the way Lamar's been extending in the pocket, and this is no exaggeration. You guys can look this up. He's been extending plays like 8-9 seconds. One time he had like 13 seconds, something crazy. Like it's insane how long he's extending plays, and he's been doing it all year. But the last few games, he's been like really dancing and climbing around the pocket, acting crazy. Man, I thought about this hard, man. I gotta go. I'm gonna go 30-17 Ravens. They're tired of hearing all week how good the 49ers are. They want to go in there and send Levi Stadium home sad. I'm sticking with
Okay,
it, man. And Ravens fan, I'll tell you my closing. Go ahead, Matt.
no problem, no problem. My pick to click for the game is going to be a little bit different. I usually go offense, but I'm going defense this time. It's going to be our Swiss Army knife, Kyle Hamilton. Uh, your coach, Kyle Shanahan,
Nice.
he went on record and said that he believes that Hamilton is already the best safety in football. And that's high praise for a guy that's not even two whole seasons in. And I think that he's the key to this defense in terms of who he can cover. He's multifaceted. He's taking snaps at defensive end, inside linebacker, outside linebacker,
Yeah. He's
um,
not just a safety. He rarely
slot,
plays.
slot corner, and
Yeah.
safety. You know, we
He's
have
a
three really good
dog.
safeties on this.
Yeah,
We have
he's
three really
everywhere.
good safeties on this football team. Um, Kyle Hamilton, I believe that he is going to have a turnover that is going to help the Ravens win. I'm
Oh,
going to
God.
stick with my initial score prediction from the show with Ted earlier today. I have Justin Tucker winning the game for us, 27-24. And that'll do it for the show, guys. You guys have been fantastic guests. I want to thank all of your
Awesome.
loyal listeners and followers for commenting on your YouTube stream. They've been popping up on the side of my screen as well. Merry Christmas to you guys. After this week, I hope everybody gets out of the game healthy and there's nothing,
Yeah,
catastrophic on
for
either
sure.
side. And if we happen to meet again, we can run this back in February. So
Yeah,
before we
for
before
sure.
we let before we let you guys go, let everybody know where they can find your YouTube show, where they can find your podcast, and where they can find you guys on social media.
Yeah. Um, I'm the Gina V. I my at is right there. I'm all over the same thing all over social media. And Rod and I are co-hosts on Sports Laugh and Chill Show. And it's on YouTube and it's also on Twitter or X and Instagram. And yeah, you guys should watch us Mondays and Wednesdays, 6:30 Pacific, Wednesday 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Damn, I'm not high. I swear to God. Go ahead, Rod.
I mean that it is. I'm Rod Cali 24/7 on X, IG. I'm Rod underscore Cali. I appreciate you guys. Oh, another thing, real quick. Since you guys are Raven fans, your 2000. Well, I feel like the best defense ever. I went to school with Chris McAllister, so he's one of my good buddies to this day. So
Yeah.
that's I kind of got a little bit of love for you guys, but not this week.
All right, man. So me and you are going to be friends. All right. I'm a Facebook and everything, buddy.
I'm with it, man. That's
All
my
right, man.
partner, man, for real.
He's a legend in these parts, and the Ravens finally accepted him back. He's like back in
He
the
was the legend of the game a
organization
couple weeks
now.
ago.
Yeah,
Yep.
like, and it's been too long, man. It's been too long. They should have done
Yep.
it a long time ago. To me, he is the best corner in Ravens history, hands down. Period. He was a beast. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Shout out to
And
C-Mac.
he is who Brandon Stevens reminds me a lot of him. Not just because their number is the same, but because they're both big, physical, shutdown corners. The only difference is C-Mac has a big upper hand because C-Mac could get interceptions. Brandon Stevens is not going to get, his hands are bad. I mean, there's a reason he's a corner. He is
Right.
not picking nothing off. But he
I
will
feel you.
shut somebody down, that's for sure.
I feel you.
But
Yeah.
if you guys want to hang around a second for post game or for post show, I'd appreciate that for a second. But Josh, go ahead and shut us down like you normally do.
All right, Ravens fans, look, if this one gets crazy out of hand, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. We got 2 more games. It's going to be all right. You know, it kind of reminds me of the last time we won the Super Bowl and Denver beat the shit out of us and we all thought the world was over. And then we saw them again in the playoffs and we got the last laugh. So that might be the case this time, you know. So we don't want to be the one to win, maybe. And then they come back and get the last laugh in the Super Bowl. I don't know,
We
but
don't lose Super Bowls,
I'm
Josh.
not. We don't lose Super Bowls, but I'm not scared of this game. I just don't want it to be a blowout. If we lose by 3, then I'm not going to be that upset. Then we got to focus on Miami, which did not get moved to prime time. Which how the f does that
Thank
happen?
you. I didn't want that. I didn't want that. I wanted it
'Cause
to
you're
be at
old.
1 o'clock. Yeah,
Of course, because you're old. Yeah,
yeah.
I know you're 50, and
I'm 34.
that's right. I'm a lot older than him. I'm 36.
Damn, we're old then, Gina. We're old.
I know. I
We're in
know.
our 40s.
Hey man. Oh man, you ain't that far ahead of us.
That's a wrap, folks. We'll be back on Tuesday
Same
night
damn.
for the
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate
recap
you guys.
show.
You guys are
Thank you
fun.
for letting us be on the show.
Oh, no problem.
9:30 Eastern on Tuesday night, folks. We will be back. That is a wrap.